My wife and I have been holding Bible studies in our home on Wednesdays and Fridays with friends. And she uses the ESV Bible. She likes it. It's described as an essentially literal translation, and it really is a good translation. But I use the 1984 NIV Bible because that's what I've been reading ever since I got saved in 1985. I like to tell people it's too late for me now. It's in my heart, it's in my soul. I've been reading it every day for years. I preach from it, I pray over it. It's how God speaks to me. I'm not trying to say it's the best translation in the whole wide world, although it is. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Not saying that at all. But it's how God speaks to me. However, I want to make the point in this video that you don't want a wooden literal translation when you hear how clunky it sounds in English. You want something that strikes a balance between being faithful to the Greek and the Hebrew original and also reads well in English. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to read from the ESV, Colossians 3, verses 1 through 4. And I picked that because it's also pretty close to the NIV 1984. And then I'm going to read it in Greek, and you're going to hear the difference. Not a huge difference, but you'll notice one is clunkier than the other. Here's Colossians 3. If then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth, for you have died and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. Very similar to my 1984 NIV. Now let's hear it in Greek. I'll try to translate it as literally as I can. Since, therefore, you have been raised to Christ, the things above seek, where the Christ is, at the right hand of God sitting. The things above set your minds, not the things upon the earth. For died you have, and the life of you is hidden with the Christ in the God. When Christ is manifest, the life of you, you also with him will be manifest in glory. So it's a little bit clunkier to go word for word literal, and there are other verses that are even more clunkier than the passage that I read. And the idea is you want a Bible that says what the original says in the best possible English if you're an English speaker. And I think the ESV is an excellent translation, but for my money, the translation that strikes a really good balance between faithfulness and readability is the NIV. Now, I do have some issues with the NIV. I prefer the 1984 translation. I believe the 2011 edition made some changes that I don't quite agree with. I think 66.2% of the 2011 NIV is the same as the 1984, but that means almost 34% is not exactly the same. And that's a little frustrating when I've memorized it one way and now I'm reading it this way. And you know what I found out? That the NIV is perhaps the only Bible translation committee that has an ongoing meeting once a year. And every single year they go over and consider and make changes to the 2011 NIV, although they don't publish it. But in 4 or 5 or 6 years or whenever the next edition comes out, they're going to take the changes that they've made each year, and you'll see that in the next edition of the NIV. And some people really like that because they know they're getting a translation that's up to speed with the latest research, what we know about the semantic range of verbs and nouns. And other people are thinking, you know, I prefer a stable translation. But you know what? Even the ESV Bible is not completely stable. They update that. They've updated it with light revisions 3 or 4 or 5 times, and they're rolling out this year with another one. The only Bible translation in English today that's essentially the same as when it first came out in 1981 is the New King James Version. And that's one of the things I love about the New King James Version, is whether you have an old one from the 80s or whether you bought one in the store the other day, it says the same thing. You have that reliability, you have that standard, and a lot of people choose the New King James for that reason. But, like I said earlier, it's too late for me. I'm an NIV guy. And I honestly, in my opinion, of all the English translations that are out there, I think the NIV, okay, I said I wasn't going to say it's the best. It's not the most word for word, but the NIV does do a great job with readability. And it's what I know, it's what I stick with. Would I recommend someone pick the NIV today if they're out buying a new Bible? Depends on the person, depends on their reading level, it depends on what they want to be challenged by. You know what the best Bible translation is? The one you're reading. Because if you have two Bibles at home, if you have a New King James Bible and you have an ESV, and the ESV is the one you're reading, then the ESV is the one that's best for you. It's the one that God is using to speak to you and encourage you and challenge you. So I think you can have confidence in the English Bibles that they sell in the Christian bookstore. Stay away from the Jehovah's Witness Bible, the New World Translation. Stay away from the Mormon Bible. It's a clunky translation. Plus they put the heretical Book of Mormon in it. And stay away from the Passion Translation because that too is not a great translation. All translations have areas where we can nitpick, but just find the Bible and read it. Jesus loves you. This I know, for the Bible tells me so. We'll catch you next time.